I've always pictured Mrs. Claus to be very eloquent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, like busty, kind of like a German, that like kind of like get up, you know? Like
Go on.
Backdoors and Blindside starts now.
What's up?
Sup?
What's up? What's up?
Yo, Alan, what's good?
Yeah, when Al walked into the turret, like that was so funny.
It's
Rob
so
greeting him
awesome.
with a sup.
Rob's like, it's kind of annoying how good he is at the game and how handsome he is, and he's also funny.
Oh yeah.
Like he's got the whole thing going for him. That's what's amazing too is like he was like old Love Island. It's like Love Island season 4 or something like that. Like I don't think anyone knew this guy like outside. Like he had no like real reputation coming into this season of Traitors.
I didn't know who it
and
was.
he is Traitors season 4.
Oh, money.
Fucking stud. Yo. We're Backdoors and Blindsides. We're covering Traitors season 4. This is episode 8. A queen never comes off her throne. And what's that? The show sounds prettier, more jovial, full of life. What is that? What is that sound that I hear coming through our board? It's something with our microphone.
Oh, is it?
There's an update to these.
Oh, yes.
Where did these beautiful Backdoors and Blindsides branded mic flags come from?
Why, thank you for asking, Matt. They came from, Etsy. I found these cute little black, all black mic flags, and the customization was going to be damn near over $100 for 2 of them. And I said, no, I am resourceful. I can do that. So I bought them blank, and I just spent the last couple hours cricketing, you know, the little, vinyl cutter printer thing. Yeah, I did all of these logos myself. I did it 8 times.
Shout
on
out.
every angle of the flag.
There's some websites out there that charge like $100 for one of these. So we'll do it for, I don't know, $30.
No. Do not sign us up for that. I don't want to do other people's bullshit.
No.
I barely wanted to do this. I only almost cried like 1 time.
That's
so like
good.
that's
I'm
a
so
good
proud of you.
cricket project.
One cry
When
on a Saturday
I know
afternoon.
I didn't cry.
Oh.
I said I almost cried one
Okay.
time. So that's pretty good.
If you want the hack, you can hit us up because this is we'll pay it forward as podcasters.
Sure.
Yeah. We won't. Well, no, you know what? I'm not going to go there. We are in the turret as Rob and Candiace are face to face after Lisa goes home.
And they're both mad at each other. You have Rob being mad at Candiace because she wrote his name down as this like throwaway vote. And then Candiace is mad at Rob because it looks like he rallied the troops to get Lisa out. And I'm not going to lie, we've seen a lot of sides of Rob. We've seen him, happy, fun, serious, analytical, strategic, kind of mellow, just calm. But we have not seen Rob mad before.
Yeah.
He gets in this turret.
He's a little riled up.
He's a little riled up. And I'm like, oof. Whoa, back of the neck's a little.
Oh, he's angry.
A little sticky. Ooh, he's a little mad.
He's hot.
Okay,
He's
Rob.
running hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
What
like
is it
it.
about? Is it specifically that he's like yelling at a woman? Is that what's getting
no.
Is that what's got you excited?
No, it's him kind of like sticking up for himself because he's usually pretty passive, and like this is kind of out of character for him. I think is like he's
very agreeable,
upset. Yeah, and so just him being upset is a little like, oh, like he's defending himself. Like, okay, he's fighting for his life up there. I remember somewhat related, but in high school, I had a friend and she was really into one of the like star soccer players. And we were at
star like David Beckham or
no,
like at school?
At our school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And not a famous person. And he like got hurt during a game that like I went with her to.
Okay.
And he's like on, like a stretcher or something. And he's just like writhing around in pain and just upset and like
crying?
Hurt. I don't know if he was crying, but like, maybe. And she looks at me, she goes, God, it's so hot. And I didn't understand it in that moment, but I feel like same energy bringing
a man
to
writhing in pain.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Is it what is it like the expression of emotion? Is that what that is?
I think so.
It's like, oh, like this person is like it's showing like sensitivity in a way.
Sure.
Like they're dropping all of their shields.
Right.
They're vulnerable.
Exactly.
That's
yeah,
what
he's
it is.
vulnerable right now.
You like seeing someone who's vulnerable.
Right. We have both Rob and Candiace exposed in different ways, and I would like to see Rob more exposed in more way than one.
If I say one nice thing about Zendaya being mean to people in movies, everyone gets so offended that I say that, and I can't get away with saying that.
What do you mean?
I love Zendaya being mean to people. All right, that's my looking at someone in torturous pain being carried off of the soccer field.
We know you like when women are a little rough, a little mean with you.
I'm trying to understand the other side of this. Basically, I'm trying to understand where you're coming from. So, you want to see Rob break his nose open and gush blood?
No, that's not what I want.
And
not his sweet face.
They are going back and forth in this turret, and Rob's like, "Why did you write my name down?" And Candiace is like, "'Cause you voted out Lisa. Why did you vote out Lisa?" And Rob says, "Well, her game was fucked, and we had to cut the fat to move on so that we can win this game as traitors." But that
only works when you are both together on that like front. You just don't get to like pull a power play and be like, well, it was for the both of us when like the other person didn't consent to it being Candiace.
This whole episode is a beautiful like slow motion crumble of the two of them working together as traitors coming to an explosive end. But from the jump, when this episode kicks off in the turret and they flip their hoods up, you go, this is over. It's so over,
way.
And one of them is going home tomorrow, and that is what this entire story is going to be.
And who's it going to be?
And that's basically how we set it up last episode. Is like there's no direction forward where the two of them are aligned.
Right.
We're going in completely different directions, or someone's going to die or get banished. Important thing to note here. Rob shares with the audience that he is not going to tell Candiace that Colton was throwing her name around after the banishment.
And he says, quote, "I have information that she needs, and if she lies to me, she's not going to get it." Whoa.
Damn.
Whoa, the strategy is so hot.
Yeah, dude, it's like, I'm like, fuck, dude, like you are going to win this. Because you're playing
it's looking pretty good for him right now.
And because like he's right there, like that is vindictive, right? Like that is, I guess that's the best word to use. Like that is it's kind of emotional, right? We were just saying like you don't want to play with your emotions in this game, but like it's like a poised strike that he's planning instead of lashing out, which I think is what Candiace did by writing his name down at the round table.
Absolutely, and it's the first time we see a traitor withholding actual shots fired type information from another traitor, because we see it happen with, Lisa, them going to Lisa and be like, hey, people are saying your name. Them going to Candiace saying, hey, people are saying your name. Rob has never had that because no one's saying his name. But again, he does not go to Candiace and say, hey, Colton said something. He's like, I don't know anything. Just
I'm going to let this go. I'm going to let Colton run the banishment on her next because it's worked out for him. Obviously, with the Lisa banishment.
Right. And so, Alan comes in, and that's where we sup. What is up? What is up, my man, Alan? How you doing up in this turret, boy? That was the vibe that he was giving. But Alan comes in, and he says, hey, guys, you can recruit or kill. It's your choice, whatever you want to do. And very early and very quickly, they kind of shut down the idea of recruiting. And I think this is smart on both parts because it's not advantageous for either of them to have a third party in that turret right now because the cards are kind of all laid out. Mm-hmm. They know that, guns are blazing. We're going to, kind of double bluff each other a little bit. We're going to have this nice dance that we've orchestrated. And, maybe I am working with you. Maybe I'm not working with you. It's already so fucking messy that they don't want to mess it up even further. They don't want someone to have extra ammo. Like they wouldn't want, Rob wouldn't want Dorinda in there because then it would be housewives teaming up on him. And Candiace wouldn't want Colton in there because then it would be, those people teaming up on her.
Club,
Right.
Yeah. And I think this is like, again, there are beats every 5 minutes of this episode that is just further proof that this is so over between the two of them. When they both so quickly agree, no, we're not going to recruit. It's like, okay, it's on. That means it's so on. There's
not
no reason. There's no reason to continue trusting because you know that all they care about is getting you out so that they can start completely fresh and recruit their most ideal addition to the Traitors. Yeah. And Alan, he retreats. Again, Alan's murder fit, my favorite fit, the brimmed hat, the black cloak. They pitch 3 names to kill. And actually, really, it mostly comes from Candiace. They pitch Steven, Colton, and Natalie.
And Rob, it's very important, too, into the conversation of, we just decided we're not going to recruit anyone. Now we're going to kill someone. And Rob basically says, because of how things went with Lisa, because I was super strong against not recruiting, I'm going to give Candiace a little more wiggle room here to make a decision basically about who we should kill.
You pick the top 3 and then it's like how we pick movies. It's like, I'll pick 3 and then you choose from those 3.
It's almost this like Trojan horse peace offering.
Yeah. He
gives her was like, oh, okay, like I'll be a little more lenient on who we kill tonight because, I owe you one kind of thing.
Yeah. That's a really good way to look at it. I mean, he's not being gracious and he's not really being nice so much as it's veiled niceness.
But like Candiace knows it's veiled niceness, so then she goes back to him with also this veiled niceness.
That's what's fun is they're both just watching. They're both looking at each other like no, we're not fucking. It's like the fucking coffee shop scene in Heat, where it's the diner scene where it's like De Niro and Pacino are facing off and they're both like neither of them are budging and they're just letting each other know basically like yeah, it's on. This is going to continue until one of us dies. Which is
pretty much
it's sick, and
that's the Heat with Sandra Bullock and Melissa McCarthy.
It's the oldest worst joke in this house.
Whenever he brings up Heat, I say, "Oh, the Heat with Sandra Bullock, Melissa McCarthy." He goes, "Yes."
Here's the thing: is I'm a 29-year-old white dude, so the movie Heat, directed by Michael Mann, is the most important thing in the world to me.
Right.
I think it was Gabrus. I was listening to like Stavi's World once, and someone called in, and they were like, "Hey, like I've recently transitioned to being a man, and I'm trying to make more male friends, but like I'm having trouble like connecting. I'm having trouble like finding common ground and like connecting with like other men. Like, do you guys have any like advice? Because they're both like dudes, rock guys." And Gabrus was like, "Just watch the movie Heat. And then the first dude you see, just bring up the movie Heat, and you're going to have your best friend for life right there." 100% accurate.
Right, and that's how it works with women with the Heat. I'm a 29-year-old white woman, and we also champion the Heat with Sandra Bullock and Melissa McCarthy.
See, that's good. This is good. That everyone has their own Heat to champion amongst their peers.
I actually don't. I think I've seen the movie like once. I think I saw it in theaters once and maybe like at home once.
Yeah, that was kind of on the end of the Melissa McCarthy hype train.
Yeah, but I just like to bring it up every time you mention Heat because it's funny and it bothers you, and I like to
and it gets me every time.
A little bother, yeah.
So, but before we get to breakfast and we announce the murder,
we want to talk about who our 3 options are, right? That they mentioned: Steven, Colton, and Natalie. And Rob says about Steven, he goes, "He's super random, but he's super low key," and I'm like, yeah, Rob, that's Steven whenever he's on my TV screen.
Yeah.
That sums him up.
Steven has been like a potential for basically the entire game because it is really random and inconsequential. Like I can't really tell like who Steven is aligned with. At one point Rappaport was like saying it was the Hunks Alliance, which I saw them like hang out together, but we didn't see a lot of game talk. So we see Steven as like kind of whatever. We ended last episode with saying that killing Colton is the best move for the Traitors, but they probably won't do it because Rob doesn't want to let that alliance go yet, which is really frustrating because we said this before, like Colton will eventually find you out. because whether he's right or wrong, he's playing hard and loud. And when you're crashing around like that, he will eventually crash into you.
Well, we
when
even
you're
saw
chaotic
him
like that.
bring up Johnny
Yes.
as a potential. He's just like looking for names. He's just going to every single person being like, I think this person's it. And that's not good if you have that in the house. And two, it could shield Rob in a way where, like, if you're looking at it from the outside, from the faithfuls, if Rob's a traitor, he would never kill Colton. They're homeboys. Why would they ever? That doesn't make sense. Like, and Rob says flat out, like, I don't want to kill Colton because Candiace tries to throw it out. Like, let's kill Colton. He's like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And they kind of talk about Natalie being good. You know,
good
maybe
admissions.
Yeah, good admissions, good at the round table, but like,
we said this last episode. Like, you keep Natalie around because people are still writing her name down. Like, she is still a suspect, and honestly, more than ever after last night because of her behavior at the banquet. The way that she was so desperate to take the antidote, basically snatched it right before Tara could get to it. So that type of like chaotic energy has everyone's eyebrows raised, and as long as someone is causing that type of friction in the house or in the castle, they're advantageous to keep around.
She's a good distraction.
Exactly. So Colton, correct, highly unlikely. Steven seems to make the most sense here. So let's move on to breakfast. The first four into breakfast are Tara, Mara, Eric, and Johnny.
And I think it's Mara who like grabs a glass of like orange juice right in the beginning, and she has like there's like this nice, you know, cut crystal pitcher of orange juice, and I've been craving orange juice ever since.
Oh yeah?
It just looked so fucking good. It looked just pure and
Breakfast always looks so much better than dinner does on this show. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, Rob from last season, Boston Rob, was saying how horrible the food was in the castle.
Well, because the dinner, it's just like, it's like catering trays, you know what I mean? Like, it's, and I get it, like, it's television catering, right? You're not gonna be given lavish meals. Honestly, like the reward challenges on Survivor hailed better menu options than anything that they seem to be eating on Traitors.
Like the Wendy's or like Outback sponsored meal?
I don't know. And then I guess they have had Applebee's in the past,
yeah.
But probably on par with some of the stuff. But yeah, the breakfast always looks amazing. And have we pointed out that like there's an obsession with the salmon?
Yes.
Every season, people are clamoring. Is that because everyone's like...
No, I think it's just this season.
I thought I heard it last season too. I know like Monet was going for salmon. I know...
Mara was.
Yeah, Mara. Is that like we're all really good looking and in shape thing, so we want like the protein dense breakfast, low carb option?
I don't know.
Low fat, low carb?
I don't know. But if that's the only good thing on there, I just remember, I think at one breakfast, Mara walked in and was like, oh, good, there's still salmon. And was like, pass that down to me. I'm like, oh my gosh, like we're really, into it.
No one's putting it on a bagel with cream cheese. It's all, we're just raw dogging the salmon, which smoked salmon, who doesn't love?
Baby birding it, like I said.
I see these four, Tara, Mara, Eric, and Johnny, and I write down, this could be a winning foursome. Because Johnny has clearly kind of come to the front as a new threat to the Traitors. He's playing. And I have more on that later, but he's, trying to assemble a group to get the majority vote in every roundtable, true faithful behavior. And these are four people who I think are very over and clearly not suspected by anyone. I could see them, if they stay connected, they could make it to the end. Now,
and you have Tara and Johnny.
Yes, their secret friendship, which we get a little bit after breakfast.
And
so I have a note on that.
Super strong relationship, but just talking about like that four specifically, like having that link between the two of them and then their connection with the other two, like that's,
Tara brings up, do you think that there was a recruitment last night? Because at this point we've voted out 2 traitors. Typically that's when the option to recruit becomes available. Because Donna
right now,
left and then Lisa left.
Yeah, right now they're thinking there's at least 1 traitor left, probably 2.
Exactly. And
there's enough people in the castle still to require recruitment.
Here's another moment where my eyebrows shot up listening to Johnny talk. Johnny says, well, if they recruited someone, it wouldn't be someone that everyone loves because they wouldn't want another solid traitor to make it to the end. They would want to use somebody and then eventually boot them as well. Telling us.
At this point, I'm like, Johnny, that kind of sounds like you though right now.
Well, yes. Which is why he would be a perfect recruit. We talked about that a little bit last episode. But I'm hearing all of this and I'm like, oh, Johnny is playing and he understands this game probably better than most people have this season on the faithful side, which I always love. I love when we're surprised by someone who reveals themselves to be super strategic, but they've been playing under the radar, even, to the edit on the show. And that rocks. And that's one thing that I really like about Traitors, is that you have the ability to kind of mask certain players' strategy from like the edit until a certain point in the show, where now I realize like, oh, this is like the Johnny show as far as like the faithfuls go. So really cool to hear him talk so strategically and really like analyze who could have been the recruit if they did recruit.
Him saying that though, I was like, shut up, Johnny. Because if I am thinking about what he's saying as another faithful, I would be like, oh, wait a second. People are kind of onto Johnny. That description of the perfect recruit would be Johnny.
I think he's talking that way because he trusts these three a lot, which again, I'm like, this could be a winning foursome. Yeah. Like the four that won last season. And then Johnny also shuts down suspicions of Candiace. Before Candiace comes in, someone throws out, it might have been Mara. Colton said Candiace's name last night, right? Johnny starts to shut that down.
Which I didn't realize how tight they were.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's really interesting to me. And like, all of the good faithfuls historically have had flaws because they have been tied. Look at Dylan last season. He was super tight with Boston Rob, and then he was super tight with Danielle. And so like but he still made it to the end, which is why I think like Johnny at this point still has the potential to pull that type of game out.
Even Johnny, I think it's later in the episode, he goes, oh, like, I don't think it could be Candiace because like, I'm just so close to her. But like, wait a second, a traitor needs someone who's super close to them. Am I that person that's like accidentally, unknowingly super close to a traitor? And I was like, oh my God, he is like...
He's thinking about it from all angles.
The forest for the trees for the forest, or whatever the fuck that...
He's playing.
Yeah, he's playing.
He's playing and he's smart.
There's trees and branches and forests and he's seasoned it all.
All of a sudden, I'm like a huge Johnny fan. And I've already said like maybe the best dressed in the castle. Very funny. But now I'm like, okay, sweet. Like, he knows this game. He knows ball, and he's going to be great to watch for the rest of this season, however many episodes we have left. Candiace comes in.
And she looks kind of just like Mrs. Claus.
Yeah.
She's wearing, like, this, like, red, like, piece with the white trim, and I'm just like, you're giving hot Miss Claus.
And I've always thought that Mrs. Claus was supposed to be hot.
What?
Yeah, you didn't think so? You think that she looks like in Rudolph, like the old bag, fucking frumpy Mrs. Claus? I've always pictured Mrs. Claus to be very eloquent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, like busty, kind of like a German, that like kind of like get up, like
Go on.
Little pom poms, little white pom pom kind of things,
works. And go on.
And yeah, the white hair.
Yeah.
The glasses.
Yeah. Now
you have been a man that's into lighter haired women.
I guess. I mean, considering the last 15 years, yeah. Candiace is obviously, she has eyes on her because she wrote down Rob's name, and everyone's like, "Hey,
vote.
What the fuck was that?" And what's crazy is Candiace is she's coming in. We criticize Lisa because Lisa would come into breakfast and not have anything prepared. Candiace is
she'd also come and be like, hey, everyone, oh my God, I'm safe.
Candiace is coming into breakfast already, like, ready to fight. She's ready to fight.
She has, like, her hand on the gun.
Yes.
And she's like, who's around me?
And she starts going on about how, well, like, I would never just, like, throw away a vote. And Mara, I think on behalf of everyone else at the table, goes, well, you did last night. And you said that you did last night. You said, this is a throwaway vote. I don't think it's Lisa. I'm voting for Rob.
Right. But I think the issue that was happening is that Candiace was trying to say, I knew Rob wasn't going to leave tonight. That's why I threw a vote his way. Because I didn't believe Natalie or Lisa could be traitors. I didn't know where to go. I just threw it on someone who I knew we weren't talking about really, and I just threw a vote out there. Because Mara was saying like, oh, he could have went home. And it's like, no, he couldn't have because no one else had voted for him. But in this moment, Dorinda kind of like butts in on the conversation. She goes, yeah, it's just like when I threw a vote your way, Mara. I'm like, okay, Dorinda, shut up. Like, no one was talking about you. She just wanted to like throw her little 2 cents in and be like, Mara, hope you just see it as a little throwaway vote. Look, we all do it.
Let's not forget that Dorinda is having the most fun because she's actually getting to play the game this season.
Yeah.
So I think that she just has to be a part of everything at every turn. She's like, oh, I just want to get like the whole experience in.
But I just kind of wanted to like, if I was sitting there, I just like take Dorinda's face and just like really get a good grip on it, and be like, shut up, and just like push it aside. Like, this is not about you.
Yeah. I think a certain part of the internet really doesn't like her. I think there was drama with her and Donna off camera.
Yeah, they were saying there was like maybe an altercation or something like that.
That
but
made
like,
it to the internet. So I think Swifties are really anti-Dorinda, which is interesting because I see Dorinda all over like Traitors stuff. She's doing all sorts of press and everything.
Yeah, she's fine. We're not really getting much of her at all. So yeah, I guess we do need these little like butt-in comments from her every now and again.
We get some good bits from her during the mission.
We
though.
do.
We'll get into that. So, Mara points out that Candiace is not really making a whole lot of sense with like the stance that she's taking, and then all of a sudden, our last group comes in, and we had to rewind because we saw Steven and we saw Natalie and we said, wait, where's Colton? Because Colton gets murdered.
He's gone. I got what I wanted. I said I didn't want him banished because I didn't want him to have his little moment up there. He's gone. He went out with a whimper in his confessional. He was like, oh, I really want Rob to win. And I was like, get fucked, little boy. He's the one who let you go home. Fuck you. Insult to injury. Yeah. I just.
Da, 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 da. Woohoo!
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe my eyes, and that's why we had to go back, because I was like, there's no fucking way I'm getting what I wanted right now, because I don't get rewarded in television like that. And sure enough, I fucking did. Bye, bitch. Bye. Never come back on my TV screen.
I don't think he will. There's been so much hate.
Just as a reminder for everyone, and really, really let this one sink in, because it's the last time I'm doing it, because it's the last episode that he's on, I guess, until the reunion. He's a piece of shit, a sack of shit, if you will, because he allegedly stalked his ex. He pretended to be
like a stalker texter.
Yeah, stalker texter. Allegedly. He pretended to get stalker texts from the third party stalker who was actually him, allegedly. He put a tracking device on her car, allegedly, but what is not alleged is she put a restraining order against him. And for the love of God, please do not let me have to say this ever again on another podcast episode of anything, because hopefully he will never be on our TV screens again. And just, oh, joyous day it was for me.
Bye,
Felicia.
See you, buddy.
But yeah, this actually is a really good move for both traitors.
Yes, and this is where,
which is wild.
This is where
we start breaking it down.
I write down again, Rob's going to win this thing because he had the judgment, the correct judgment, to allow Candiace to get her way and murder Colton. Let that relationship die, because it's not like you were gonna get to win the game together anyways, unless you recruited him. And I don't think that you should play with intent to recruit as part of your master plan to get to the end.
Well, that's what Danielle did last season. And she really wanted to recruit Brittany, and that was the rift between her and Carolyn, and then Carolyn left, and then she finally got to recruit Brittany, and that still wasn't good enough.
Yeah, that's not enough to get you to the end. And I think it'll cloud your judgment, and Rob showed good judgment here by letting that die. And literally.
So Candiace gets her way because she gets to cut the alliance with Rob and Colton. She doesn't want them to get any closer. She doesn't want Rob to weaponize Colton against her in the future. So for Candiace's best interest, she has to get Colton out 100%. And then the more nuanced thing is why it's good for Rob to kill Colton as well. And it's because Colton was going around saying that he thinks it's Candiace. And it'll all lead back to Candiace, right? Because if Colton goes, then it looks like he was killed by Candiace, which he was.
Yes.
And it's just like, it's just kind of crazy that, you know, both sides of the coin, it was the right move for both of them. And this truly shows me how strategic of a player Rob is, because I was worried that he was really going to hold on to Colton, right? He was upset about, you know, voting Rob out. He couldn't write Colton's name down earlier either.
It's why we were a little grumpy in the last episode, because that's how this was. It was looking like that was going to be the case here, and we were going to be really annoyed to have to cover it.
Right. And I'm like, no, it's right in front of you, and it will be beneficial and advantageous for you to cut ties with Colton at this point, because guess what? Not only does it point back to Candiace for getting Colton out, but now you're sitting around like, Colton was my best bud. I can't be a traitor because I would never kill Colton. Right? And because he couldn't write Rob's name down, and Rob was a faithful.
Well, you don't have to, and you don't even have to lay it on that. You don't have to lay it on that thick, because like you did kind of follow Colton around, which was smart. And again, it comes back to never be the leader. When you're a traitor making moves against people, never be the leader. Let someone else lead. And Rob was always following in front of, you know, as far as like the perspective of others, he was following Colton. And he even brings this up later on in the round table. Like, the dude is so measured. Now, he does drop like a fork while they're talking about Colton getting murdered at breakfast, and calls attention to himself. I'm speaking as someone who is dropping shit all of the time and breaking shit all of the time. Like, I'm like, come on, man. Like, that can't be used against you. And
it does.
Well, yeah, and so we'll get to that later. But before we get into after breakfast pre-mission, I want to point out that when talking about his decision to let Candiace murder Colton, this fucking handsome ass, smart, intelligent, beautiful guy looks into the camera and fucking quotes Mark Twain. And
I know, I was like, what is happening
There's
right
a famous
now?
Mark Twain quote: "It ain't what you don't know that gets you into trouble. It's what you know for sure that just ain't so." First of all, no idea what that means. Second of all, I'm like, this guy's just carrying around like American literature quotes in his fucking back pocket. Just because
I don't know who this man is.
I'm like, who is this guy? I thought Love Island was for people who have brain damage and then get pumped full of liquor. Is that not what that show is?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. He doesn't strike me to be someone who has brain damage and then was rewarded by going on television for it. This guy is a fucking gamer.
So, fun fact though, he is super close with someone else, another Love Island player who went on to also win Traitors.
Really? Who?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I don't want to put you on the spot then. So he got some coaching, is what you
Sure, I
thinking.
think so.
Damn. I mean, you can also just get coaching by watching the seasons. And also you can be told what to do. That doesn't mean that you're going to execute it super well, right? Like, this guy clearly
he studied.
is
he had his notes.
Yeah, he's plugged in, which is awesome.
Yeah, so right now we have Rob, who basically took Candiace's queen, which was Lisa, and he is okay with Candiace taking his queen, which was Colton.
Yes.
And he's letting all of this happen over to the side, because what that really means is Candiace is now distracted at getting Colton out and being like, yes, I have a win. I have something over Rob. I broke up this alliance between him and you know, Colton and Rob. And what he's really doing is setting her up for that distraction so he can take the king down, which is Candiace.
Yes.
So he's the way he is just moving. He is playing 4D chess right now. And I'll say it again. He's hot because he's mad. He's hot because he's strategic. He's hot because he's quoting Mark Twain. And he's hot because he's playing 4D chess.
The dude's got it all. It's
on
so annoying.
Fire right now.
It's just like, you know, it's like you like Josh Allen, right? Like, he's, well, maybe not in the last season, but like last couple of years, Josh Allen's like just the most handsome quarterback in the NFL, and he's got a fucking crazy arm. He's got all these wins, just plays like an absolute stud. And then you also see him like meeting like, little kids and just being like the sweetest dude ever and just being like, everyone clearly loves being around him. I'm like, fuck you just a little bit. Just let that shit go around a little more.
Yeah.
I still like Rob though. I still want him to win. It's just a little annoying that he's got it all going on for him.
Oh, yeah. And then kind of in the same breath we're getting right before the mission, we have Rob further implicating Candiace, and we have Candiace further implicating Rob. And Rob's going around basically saying that, I think it's maybe Candiace because Colton said it was her before we went to bed.
Yeah.
Before he was murdered. And Candiace is running around implicating Rob by being like, I don't know, he looked kind of nervous. He was flailing around, dropping his fork. He's usually composed, which if we look at the two pieces of evidence that both of them are serving to everyone, I'm buying what Rob's selling.
Well, look at the numbers, dude. Candiace is having one-on-ones wherever she can. Rob gets called over by a group of 4.
That's when you know.
Steven, Mark, Natalie, and Eric motion for Rob to come over, and that's when he drops that piece of information. Again, you wait to be called on to frame someone, to push a narrative. Wait till you're asked what you think. And that's what Rob does. Rob doesn't say, "Hey, everyone gather around." They bring him in. Perfect time to mention that Colton says Candiace's name last night. And it's true. Again, he's not making shit up. That's a truth that Mara could affirm, that Dorinda could affirm because they were in the room together, right? Important to note here, just like a quick observation, Kristen is positive that Mark is a traitor. She says that to the camera. We don't really get anything else from that, but we saw them kind of working together for a little while, and she's starting to become suspicious because she's not really seeing anything else come out of Mark, which makes sense. She's basically realized, all right, I've been wrong the whole time, so I need to shift my gaze. I still think that she is a threat, that she could come close to figuring out that it's Rob, because she's already starting to look at the right types of people, and connecting the dots that they were wrong about so many others. And then Johnny and Tara quickly have this like little secret embrace where it's like the second time that we've seen them do this season. They have a quick exchange, whispering. Maybe it's Steven, maybe it's Natalie. I think that if you're Peacock, your production, you do whatever you can within reason to protect this alliance, because this is the most interesting thing on the faithful side.
The Tara and Johnny connection.
Because it's kind of like an inverse Traitors. We have two people who are aligned, but they never work together in public, right? And they're kind of waiting to get to the end together. And I think that, we like to think that production doesn't meddle too much and they let them play. At least we've been seeing that more in Traitors than in some of the other shows that we've been covering recently. But I do think that the Johnny and Tara secret friendship is the most... It's the best thing going as far as remaining engaged with what's going on the faithful side of things.
It's giving Survivor 48 Kyle and Camilla.
Oh,
that's what it's giving. But I need more from Tara.
That's high praise, by the way.
It is, but I need more from Tara. I need her to... We're seeing all the strategy from Johnny. We're seeing all of this, like... thought and insight and consideration from him. Sure. I need some of that more from her, and that might just be on like the editing side of things. Like she might be giving it, but they're just not showing it. But I do need to see some more of that to like fully commit to that kind of high praise, but it's going in that direction and I'm seeing similarities there. But one other thing that I was thinking of just now, talking about Rob coming in and like saying things to other people and like, Colton saying it could be Johnny or Steven or whoever. I think what needs to go in the Traitors playbook is to never be alone in a conversation with someone. You always need someone else there as a third party to be like, well, they slipped up. So like, you heard, right? Yeah. The two of us can say, yes, this person slipped up. The only time you should be alone with someone is if you are considering them your number one, like the Johnny and Tara situation. If either of one of them slip up, they're so good with each other that they're like, no, it's fine. It's like, I know what you meant. So you never want to talk one-on-one game with people. And that's all we're kind of seeing Candiace do at the moment. Where I need her to be in group settings to pull people in.
And
because
know why?
right now it looks like she's running around, scurrying around to this person over here, that person over there, and then hoping all the dots connect. You need that group setting to talk freely.
She lost her 2 number ones, which were Tiff and Lisa. But it doesn't seem like she got super, super tight with anyone else, aside from what Johnny is saying,
Well,
right?
I think, too, she's also mourning her relationship with Rob to a certain extent.
Oh, yeah.
Like
she's panicking.
Yeah, she just, they were just the 3 great things, 3 amigos, and, she just lost one of them at the hand of the other one. So in the same breath, she was also losing Rob. So she basically is kind of floating on an island. We see her connection with Johnny a little bit start to come into play now, or him at least talk more openly about it. But where else is she going?
Yeah.
Right? Just don't be alone in these conversations. You need people there to witness in case someone slips up. You can point out and call back to it. And also, if someone says something about you as well, you're protected because a third party's there. And you can look at that person and be like, did I kiss them on the cheek? No, right? Yes. So it's just, she's starting to panic right now.
Yeah, she is crumbling, much like Lisa was. And that's a bummer, but we'll see how things shake out. Let's get into the mission.
Let's do it.
Titled Art for the Sake of Gold, they split into 2 groups. One group stays at the castle, the majority, and a handful go with Alan to his gallery where he keeps his artwork. Only those who go to the gallery with Alan are going to have a chance to get the 1 shield that's available during this mission. Eric, again, I think the true faithful in this game, suggests that they throw out names that aren't themselves.
Very diplomatic way to approach this.
Incredibly smart way, deliberate way to approach a what would be obviously a very tense situation, right? And everyone immediately goes with it. Eric names Mark, Tara names Kristen, Dorinda names Rob, traitor, and Candiace names Johnny. And Candiace, interesting enough here, she goes even further to say Johnny's never had a shield before.
Mm-hmm.
She is demonstrating that she wants to look out for Johnny, but she's also pointing out that Johnny's never gone for a shield. What have I been saying for almost every episode since like episode 2
You're
or
trying
3?
to set up a Johnny traitor fall.
It's possible. And it's also, and I'm not saying that that's what she's going for right away, but Candiace is pointing something out that I haven't even picked up on. And she's announcing it to the entire game. And now if I were Johnny, I'd be like, shut the fuck up,
Or is that her actually trying to protect him in that moment? Because she wants to send him there so he could potentially get a shield, which means she maybe still has hope a little bit that her and Rob can still move forward together. Because right now she doesn't have a lot of people and she knows Rob has more people than her in his army. So maybe a little piece of her is holding out that her and Rob can still work together, but she doesn't want Rob to come for her number 1 in the turret. So how does she prevent that? Well, Johnny has a shield, so we can't kill him tonight. I don't have to pretend to protect him or put my neck out on a line to actually try to protect him because he has a shield and we don't have to even, that's not even a topic of conversation. So I think maybe she was trying to help Johnny more than hurt him.
Well, then
potentially.
let me pivot to being in Rob's shoes. Again, I think that there's still a chance that we could frame Johnny down the road. I pocket that information. Sure. I realize that Candiace has called out that Johnny's never had a shield before. Interesting. Maybe I'll use that at a later date. Couple that with the way that the murders have gone and all the way back to the skull challenge where Johnny was really bad at it.
Really bad.
And you could argue that he threw it from an outside point of view. Inside the castle, there are 6 empty frames with plaques. These plaques describe the portrait, the photo, or the painting rather. The castle team has to use the plaque as a prompt to recreate the painting. They don't know what the painting looks like. They're just taking this text to the best of their ability, recreating that in form of a photo.
Is kind of the most beautiful part about this challenge because they don't actually know what it is.
Yes.
They don't know what this painting is. They can't like look at it and analyze it and be like, okay, well, I'm going to set you up like this and move your arm a little bit because this is how the painting is this way. They're just reading a prompt and they're interpreting that prompt and then taking the photo, and then the other team at the gallery has to then interpret that photo to match, like, I don't know, there's probably like 100+ paintings in this room, and it's beautiful. And it really reminds me of last season, the challenge with the singing in reverse with Tom
dolls,
Sandoval. Yeah, the singing doll. It absolutely reminded me of that, but a more visual approach to it, which was kind of fun.
This is like an incredibly elevated parlor game, like a Pictionary charades type thing.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
we're like transmitting photographs and shit like that. So that's awesome. And the castle team splits into 2 smaller groups, 4 and 4, to go and recreate these photos and split up, the answers.
And who do we have on the gallery?
Yes, the gallery team. So that's Mark, Kristen, Rob, and Johnny.
And Candiace is a little pissed that Rob gets to go.
Oh, of course.
She says everyone wants to drink Rob's bathwater.
That's pretty funny.
And I go back to Saltburn.
Oh.
Which, when did that come out? A couple years ago at this point?
2020. Hang on. 2023.
Yeah. So that was all the rage.
That movie sucks.
And
I hate that movie.
But we watch little creep.
Yeah, Barry Kagan,
Sabrina Carpenter's ex-boyfriend,
drinks Jacob Elordi's bathwater, I think, with like jizz in it.
Yeah, I think that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, also like
if I was there, I'd want to drink Rob's bathwater too.
Well, fucking yeah. Well, do we see him in the bed? No, actually, I think we see Colton in the bathtub.
Do we?
When it's like the getting ready for bed shots. I think it's Colton in the tub. But yeah. All right. So first of all, yeah, Saltburn, that shit sucks. Emerald Fennell sucks. That new movie looks like it sucks.
Jacob Elordi.
Jacob Elordi is awesome. Everything else about that movie sucks. That's our official stance on this podcast. Fuck Saltburn.
But her quote did remind me of that.
Yeah. Well, like don't forget, like influencers back in like COVID, influencers were selling bathwater. They're
what?
like oh yeah, that's where that comes from. I don't know if she could be referencing Saltburn, but yeah, like 2020, like Twitch models were selling their jarred bathwater.
I'm in the wrong business.
I know.
Just fucking.
Why are we podcasting?
Right.
Seriously. What do we spend all this time on these beautiful mic flags? We just got to run the tap,
Right.
Yeah.
I foresee our water bill increasing.
People, well, I mean, but think of one bathtub and how many hundreds of dollars that could be.
Probably.
Fuck the Patreon. I mean,
right.
Or maybe that's the first 10 subscribers to the Patreon. No, I'm kidding.
Vials of our bathwater. Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah. So I think that's what she's referring to. But we get to the groups have split off, and the gallery team gets the photo. They have to find a painting in the gallery that best represents that photo, and then Alan will confirm if it's correct or if they failed. It's $3,000 for every successful answer, and they only have 16 minutes to do this, which is pretty fast. I mean, most of these missions have been anywhere from like 25 minutes on the short side to like an hour on the long side. But I like that they change up these missions, right? Because I think it's also based on like what's this episode going to look like, right? When are we going to have a really long roundtable tonight? Whatever. So it's just a nice thing about the pacing of Traitors that I really enjoy. Let's start with the first painting, which is it's tending the cattle. Basically, someone's milking a cow.
A milkmaid, perhaps.
Yes. Eric is on all fours eating grass. He's like literally got grass in his mouth, which is amazing.
Which I'd like to point out, he gets like the shortest end of the stick throughout this entire challenge. He's eating grass.
He's just getting hard the entire time.
He gets called confused between a baby and a decapitated pig head. I'm like, I don't know. I'm feeling a little bad for him at this point.
He said, I put allergens in my mouth or something like that.
I ingested allergens.
And Johnny's on all fours and Candiace is milking him, which is good. This is where I want to point out that Steven gets so excited because Steven has experience directing. from his television career and his movie career.
And photography. He's into that.
Steven cites his experience directing and goes, all right, I've got this. I'm behind the camera. And he starts going to work directing this shot. And this is when, to call back to the similar mission from season 3, this is his Tom Sandoval moment of taking it so seriously because he has the technical background that's perfect for this mission. And he's just so excited, and he's calling out direction, like, like he's on like the set as a filmmaker or something like that. So I thoroughly enjoyed how excited. That's the most we've seen from Steven.
I was like, thank God. Thank
Yeah.
God we get some more Steven in our lives, because I keep saying Steven who. Clue
number 1 is failed. Move on to clue number 2. It's called Welcome to the World. I think it's like a farm animal giving birth or something like that. So people have to get on the ground, also pretend to be animals. This is where Dorinda says, it's not often I'm on all fours these days.
It's pretty good.
First of many one-liners that Dorinda's dropping through all of this. And then I want to point out here, at one point they're like holding someone up, like they're fucking spit roasting them. And this is when Alan...
They're what?
This is when Alan looks at the camera and he says, I went to a party like this once, which is funny on so many fucking levels. But to me, this is Alan referencing that he was in Eyes Wide Shut. And he's talking about the infamous Eyes Wide Shut sequence in that movie, the Illuminati fucking orgy scene. And I just love that, like, because first of all, like, you forget that he's in that movie. He's only in one scene. He's not in that scene, by the way. He's basically telling Tom Cruise that, like, the greater overseers have manipulated everything, and he's lying on behalf of people to Tom Cruise. But just great moment. Alan referencing Eyes Wide Shut. They are successful with this one, and as they're successful, Kristen finds the one shield inside the gallery. And
she clocks it pretty early on, pretty fast. She's like, oh, the only canvas to have a back is this one, and that can't be by coincidence. And she's just over there ripping the canvas. That had to have felt good, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's just like action, right? And because otherwise you're not doing much for this mission on the gallery side. You're just waiting for the photo to come through and then looking around. So
right.
Great moment for her.
Glad she's safe.
Third hint is 4 traitors arguing about who to murder. We have Johnny choking Eric in this photo. Another failure. And so they are 0 for 2 on that team. 4 is a fierce warrior riding into battle. We have Mara riding Natalie in this. That's a success. 5 is a sad proposal. Dorinda's just riffing through this whole challenge. Like, this is really her time to shine. She's got jokes. That's a success. And then our final one is a screaming infant. Eric is crying in Candiace's lap, and that's where they almost think that he is a severed pig's head.
Yeah.
But they are successful, which brings 12 grand total to the prize pot. As of right now, in episode 8, the total is at $150,800. Pretty sizable prize.
That's pretty good bank.
I think they're close to passing the prize pot from season 3.
I think so,
already. Which, if it's looking the way it's looking, Rob's about to be really fucking rich after this season.
Even if you're splitting that down the middle right now, $75K, that's like pretty good chunk of change.
So we get to dinner, and Natalie is storming around leading a charge against Candiace. Makes sense. She fucking behaved very suspiciously during the round table last night. I think this is also Natalie trying to get the heat off of her, because it's clear that there is heat on her.
People are saying could be Steven.
Yep, Steven's name is still being thrown around. Johnny has another moment here during dinner. He's talking to Eric. Another just total gamer strategy, forward-thinking moment. He says, I can't imagine Lisa strategizing. So who is strategizing?
It's kind of a dunk on Lisa.
Which is hilarious. He's thinking, who is strategizing for the traitors? And this is where it proves that Johnny is a threat in this game, because even if you suspect Candiace as well, you're kind of with what Johnny's saying without saying it is like, housewives aren't capable of strategizing. So who is up there, right?
He thinks he feels a strong male boyish pool.
Yeah. Johnny and Eric
probably isn't the first time he's felt that.
Very true. Johnny and Eric as a duo could be, I think, the two to over. If anyone's going to take down the Traitors, I think it could be Johnny and Eric together because of the way how strategy forward Johnny is and how just like true faithful, totally over Eric is, where no one's ever going to write his name down. So it's really just him dodging murders at this point. Both of them, really. You mentioned while we were watching that you've seen stuff from Mark online and that we're not really getting as much of Mark as we should be.
Yeah, his Insta stories and reels are just filled with like all these extra tidbits from the show. And he was talking about how he watches it, religiously with his wife leading up to it. And he said, yeah, every night we'd go to bed, I would just be journaling. And he had like this book that he was showing.
Oh, hell yeah,
and it was
Mark.
kind of like, it was blurred out.
Yeah.
He was like talking about, I might release some of this stuff. And I think he was like waiting to see how the episodes are released, and also like he probably doesn't want to violate like an NDA or spoil something too soon. So he just has this whole book filled with all of his notes, and he's talking about it, and he's like, it looks like he's in some type of like studio at his house maybe, and he has a huge screen up playing the Traitors. He's like, okay, now see, at this point in the episode I did this, but based on my notes, that's why I was like, oh, he was like
so
in that
awesome.
castle playing.
This makes me so happy to hear as someone who also is insane about journaling and writing down notes and shit like that, whether it's like analyzing gameplay or like passages out of a book that stands out to me. Shout out all my all my dudes out there who just love writing all this shit down and cataloging as much as possible.
I had to interrupt you during us watching this episode of The Traitors. Mind you, the episode's an hour, give or take. Pause everyone at home for a moment and guess how long it took Matt and I to watch this episode of Traitors. You got your guesses? You collecting your guesses? 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
2.5 hours. This man was pausing it every 5 seconds, and he is writing down the plaques in the mission, the exact word for word plaque description. I was like, babe, I don't think we need all of
God
that.
forbid a man does a little show prep, all right?
I know, but
That's
it was
the podcaster in me.
It was that paired with me needing a beverage every 5 minutes. So I was going in and out of the kitchen getting seltzers and sodas and lemonades.
You're fucking dehydrated watching Rob around on screen.
I don't know. I had a lot of liquid yesterday, and which that is he hates when I say
liquid. It's the liquids are a big deal around here.
I drink too much. I drink too little. Matt's always concerned with my liquid intake. And so when
the movie Heat, most important thing. My wife's hydration, second most important thing.
Oh, yes, of course.
Podcast third. That's it.
The dogs.
Oh, the dogs. All right. The dogs third. Podcast fourth. Getting compliments. Actually, getting compliments is like 2. All right, I'm reshuffling this whole day.
Okay.
I've got to rework all of my priorities.
I didn't know we were listing our priorities, but I'm glad that I'm moving down in them.
I have to take notes, like just as much notes as I can on everything. It's why I have detailed numbers of how many times I've seen every movie that I've ever seen and when I watched it and what I was doing, what my life was like at the time that I watched it. If
you can tell me the weather of the time that we went and saw a movie. When we saw Gone Girl, where were we?
We were at Fair City Mall in October of 2014.
What was the weather like?
It was nice. It was sunny. It hadn't quite gotten cold yet. We had Chipotle for lunch, then walked over to Cinema Arts, but not before we got candy at Five Below to walk in and see Gone Girl on opening weekend with all those old people that go to that theater. And shout out Cinema Arts in Fairfax, one of the best movie theaters in the world.
This is why I call you my external hard drive, because I have the memory of a goldfish, and you just remember everything for me, and I don't have to remember it.
I like
just, I gotta keep you around.
I like the connotations that come with external hard drive.
Yeah.
What's up? How are you? I'm external hard drive. Hey, Mrs. Claus. So, I've been reading that Seinfeld book. There's a book by Jerry Seinfeld where it's basically just all of his routine, like all of his like notes that he brings up on stage for his act, and it's divided by decade. sometimes I read it in his voice, but sometimes I don't. And I'm trying to figure out why certain ones I don't read in his voice. So I write those down and then I just read them over and over again to try and find like a pattern. So
what?
Yeah.
You're a crazy.
That's
person.
why. No, that's why I love hearing Mark like keep detailed journals of all of this. Like that's sick. Shout out Mark. I think that him and I are cut from the same cloth here.
Both curly-headed boys, except his is a little longer.
That we weren't given enough stimulation while we were growing up. So, Mark, turns out he's a huge gamer. Would love to see more of that in these confessionals.
Yes.
Maybe they're saving it for the last 2 episodes of the show. Steven is also starting to play. Finally, he's nervous he realized that the mission beforehand, Lisa dumped all of her gold into his chest, which sent him on to have the chance to win the dagger. That makes you look like a huge suspect, Steven. So he starts to play and just he starts to roll with the Candiace train.
Well, he pulls Candiace in the library. I think it was in the library. Pulled her in and was like, "We need to talk one-on-one."
So who
walks by? Is it like Dorinda?
Well, what happens is he's talking to Dorinda and Johnny about the potential idea that it could be Candiace or it could be someone else. Candiace walks in and she bounces Dorinda and Johnny. She says, "I need to talk to Steven one-on-one," because she heard that Steven's been saying her name. They exit. Dorinda goes to Johnny. Suspicious much?
Fitting.
Interesting. I mean, like, again, Candiace, what are you doing? Why are you angling for these one-on-ones? And why are you making it so verbal?
Yeah.
Why are you telling everyone that it's important for you to be in a one-on-one? And then who walks in? Rob. Then Rob asks Steven to leave. And I'm like, bro.
And mind you, again, this is dinner time. We are eating. And Steven is sat with his plate of food. And Rob says, "Get the fuck out of the chair. I'm eating my dinner here." Like, treated Steven like his little bitch.
Yeah, I guess Rob, like, really feels that he has the trust of everyone, so he can just walk around like that. Because I'm surprised.
Big swinging dick, for sure.
I'm surprised that Steven doesn't go into another room and say, "Yo, Candiace just bounced you guys. Well, Rob just bounced me. What do they have to talk about together?"
Right. And
I guess aside from, like, the fact that she wrote his name down the night before.
They're having such a public display of just comparing their dick sizes, peacocking, and just out in the open. Other people are around. 2 traitors linking up, having an in-depth, intimate conversation without anybody around.
But
people walking by, I'm like, guys, come on.
This is where the stove gets turned up because Rob starts to really go hard on Candiace. And this is when we get Rob talking to the camera saying, "I want to get Candiace as fired up as possible going into this round table because she will flail, she will scream, she will yell, she will put all of the attention on her." And he is not only using that against Candiace, but he's using his own composure to his advantage.
But also Candiace knows that's what he wants. And so she's in a confessional. No, but she's in a confessional saying, "I'm not going to yell. I'm not going to scream," because that's what he wants. And we're just having this game being played on all these levels, all the bluffing, and I'm not going to act this way because I think that's what he wants. So I'm going to act this other way. And just, it's art.
It's beautiful.
This episode is truly art. Beautiful. And it has mostly everything to do with Colton leaving at the beginning of it for me.
Yeah. I wonder if this has got to be the highest rated episode of this season.
It has to.
I mean, it's also just really good. Like, the conflict is good. The storytelling is good.
Well, the Black Banquet was said to have been like, oh, like the good episode, whatever. Alan was really pushing that one. But I think it's honestly the best episode of the season so far was this last one so far for me. And we have Candiace saying to Rob, when they're in their one-on-one eating dinner in the library, she says to Rob that his name will come up if she gets banished tonight, as a threat to Rob, saying, "Don't you dare be spreading my name around, because I will start spreading your name around." And I maybe already have.
Dude.
And so if you leave, or if I leave, you're next, basically. And he kind of he gets upset and he goes, "Well, that's bad sportsmanship." I'm like, I don't know, Rob. I think you're wanting your cake and wanting to eat it too.
Yeah, I mean, because it's kind of gone his way the entire time.
Right?
He gets a little comfortable in that moment.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's a direct threat that she is putting on him, which all's fair in love and war.
Well, and then he goes back on her and he says, the game is called Traitors, right? And she says, and you're a snake. So as we get into the round table, Johnny starts for the first time, I think, this season, which is, by the way, what Johnny should have done like last episode or even the episode before, as Johnny is, trying to put together this majority vote. He names Steven. He says, Colton said to watch out for Steven. Steven was one of, seems like every other name that Colton was throwing around because he was just on, he just wanted blood, right? So everyone obviously has this name has been whispered amongst several different groups, but Steven, I think, has a really good rebuttal without attacking Johnny. He just looks around and he says, has anyone else heard my name from Colton? Did anyone else hear Colton say my name? Fair point.
Again, what I said earlier in the episode, don't be caught alone with someone who you do not feel you can 100% trust.
Yeah. And so I think it's good. He doesn't seem incredibly defensive. He doesn't get pissed here. And it's like, he is a faithful, right? But I just think he composes himself really well.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
a good rebuttal. They all ask, well, why did Lisa dump all of her gold into your chest? Because that seems like you were working together as traitors.
And he said, whoa. She didn't come over willy-nilly and just dumped it there. She came because I asked her to.
Yes.
Because she was realizing she didn't have enough gold to get to the end, and I asked her to put her rocks in my box.
Smart.
That's what she said.
And because let's not forget, Colton was the one who was originally like, why would Lisa dump all of her gold into Steven's chest? Like he created that initial suspicion.
Mm-hmm.
So Steven is defending himself pretty well, but
it's the most we've seen him play this entire time was during this episode.
If I'm Rob, I am the guy hiding behind the tree, rubbing his hands together because I realize, the heat is on Steven. How am I going to work this tomorrow after I get my fellow traitor out? So I think something important to bookmark that Steven could be a future, pinned scapegoat traitor.
And throughout this entire roundtable sequence, if you didn't pay attention while you were watching, I would say go back and watch this section because it is so perfectly edited with the background music. It is like we are pulling off like some big like heist or some big political backstabbing happening. There's throughout the entirety of it, there's like almost like this heartbeat noise underneath. And I was like, oh, it's building up, and we're gonna just come to this like climax, and we did, and it was beautiful.
So let's get into Candiace versus Rob, which is what makes up the rest of the roundtable. We kind of move off of Steven right here. Eric points out that, and again, true faithful behavior, points out that Candiace was consistent in voting for Donna and then voting for Ron until last night when she suddenly voted for Rob. And
makes no sense.
It doesn't make sense. And in that moment, you realize everyone trusts Rob. No one is doubting Rob at this table.
Well, the slight issue that I have is they were like, why didn't you vote Lisa? Candiace like, I didn't want to vote against a housewife. I didn't think it was Lisa. Which, if we rewind back to the very beginning, we can't vote against Portia or that's going to be held against you for the entirety of it. So Candiace probably feels stuck between a rock and a hard place in that moment when she was, supposed to vote for Lisa potentially because she didn't want to go against a housewife, because we saw what happens when a housewife goes against the other housewife, how that's perceived within the castle.
And what's unfortunate is she isn't really able to voice it that way.
No, she's not.
And because she's too angry. She's too angry at Rob.
Flustered,
right now.
yeah.
So she immediately tries to turn it on to Rob. She says, Colton was your pawn. Rob says that she says, why you didn't vote for Lisa the first night, but you did last night, right? Or basically she was like, you wanted everyone to vote for Lisa. You pushed Colton to target Lisa, and that's where everyone else went. This is where Rob defends himself, and this goes back to like, this is the deepest level of traitor gameplay because you have to remember how you voted every night. And he calls back to that. He says, well, Colton brought up Lisa first. I didn't vote for Lisa the night before. And then I only voted with him last night because there was more evidence. It made more sense. So he deflects that Lisa vote, which was, I think, Candiace's biggest piece of ammunition coming in her eyes. And it just wasn't enough. This is where I had to rewind to make sure that she said this. She said, for me, it seems like Colton was acting as Rob's beard. What the fuck? What the fuck does that mean?
Are you asking me what it means?
No, I mean, like, is she using that in the term, like the slang term beard?
I don't know. It was confusing. It was a little weird, especially coming off of the Rappaport attacking Colton over being good at keeping a secret because he was gay. And usually the term beard means a, man having a woman around, if you will, to call attention away from the fact that he's gay. And now you're a beard. You're a
gay person's hetero partner to hide their true lifestyle.
Much like I am with you.
Exactly. And but you're the best beard.
Thanks.
So until Rob comes around, then we're gonna kill each other for whoever gets it.
Exactly. But no, I found that comment really strange from her, especially in the wake of Michael's comment.
That's why I'm not accusing her of what did she say? What I'm not.
Well, do you know what happened offline after this?
Let me compose myself first because I want to get it out there that I'm not accusing Candiace of using that as like a weaponized term. I was just like, huh? Say again, Candiace. Are you talking about his beard? Like his beard?
No, there was some homophobic rhetoric that came from her social media accounts a while ago, years ago. Okay. That got brought up because of this comment that she made.
Yeah, I don't know.
And so now she's on an apology tour. So, I mean...
I just don't understand. Like, first of all, how is that even translate to Traitors gameplay? Like, what Rappaport said, I think, was shitty. But, like, I understood what it meant in the context of, like, accusing Colton and being a traitor. With what she said about Colton and Rob, I'm like, I don't understand. Like, you're saying that, like, Colton was keeping Rob's secret for him? Is that where we're going?
Well, the other thing online that is kind of a conspiracy is that Rob off screen dropped hints or told Colton the situation.
We addressed that.
Right. So if that is the case, that could be what Candiace was pointing out.
Interesting.
But the most interesting thing to me that happened, right as she was saying that and finishing that weird beard comment, Alan immediately comes in and he says, "The time for talk is over." And he looks down at Candiace. And to me, I was like, holy shit. Is Alan calling out a traitor right now?
Good. We haven't had our own conspiracy theory on the show in a little while. I love it. So you think that Alan's earpiece was going off and they were like, "Alan, you need to shut her the fuck up."
Pull it. Because I've seen things from the cast. They have said that the roundtable could go on for as little or as long as production lets on.
Yeah.
So if the conversation is good, production could let it go for an hour or two. Mm-hmm. If it's bad and people are just stalling and there isn't really a ton of conversation, the roundtable could be 15 minutes. So the fact that production pulled the plug on this roundtable when Candiace was really, really pressing into Rob, I think production was shielding Rob in that moment because Candiace was getting a little too close to actually calling Rob a traitor, which leads me into my next point of put it in the faithful playbook that I think the best way to spot a traitor is to point blank ask them, "Matt, I need you to say that Rob's a traitor right now." Because if you're a faithful, you can say that. If you're a traitor, you can't say that. And if Rob's also a traitor, you can't call him a traitor. So that's how you shoot someone point blank in this game.
Would that not kind of wreck the integrity of the whole game, though?
It's a loophole. Wrecking the integrity of the game is what Candiace was almost basically doing, where she was being like, Rob's a traitor. And Alan's like, you can't do that because that's what you said in your oath when you became a traitor, is that you would not compromise your position of being a traitor, and you will not compromise your other traitors. You can go after other traitors. You just can't say that they're a traitor.
Yeah.
So if I am suspicious of Candiace and Rob being a traitor, as a faithful in the house, I am going up to Candiace and being like, Candiace, do you think Rob's a traitor? She'd be like, yeah, I don't know. You know, Rob even said, you know, it's plausible when when Colton brought Lisa up as being a traitor, he goes, it's plausible, right? He kind of wishy-washy, ambivalent. You can even, you know, press like, oh yeah, she could be. Oh, I saw her do this. You can add evidence. But the single thing you cannot say as a traitor about another traitor is that they're a traitor. So I would go to Candiace, and if they're both traitors, Candiace, is Rob a traitor? For you to save your game right now, Candiace, I need you to say the verbatim words, I know Rob is a traitor. If you can't say those lines, then you've just exposed two traitors.
But then that would end the game, wouldn't it?
No, it wouldn't. Because now we have to get them out on this banishment and the next banishment.
Oh, true. I guess you can't do it all at once.
Right.
When then there would be like a forced recruitment.
That is a huge loophole that I've found in the Traitors game. And I would be so interested for someone to exploit that and try to get someone to say that their fellow traitor is a traitor, or not say that, and that be the telltale sign of, okay, well then you're traitors. Because if I'm a faithful, I could go around to every single person and make them do that. I could give two shits if you say that you're not a traitor. I need you to say that other people are or aren't a traitor.
And I wonder if you came in with that attitude and started asking that question, maybe that's another moment where Alan jumps in and stops the conversation.
No, I'm saying don't do that at the round table. That's where you do it in your own interrogations.
Oh, like at dinner or something like that.
Yes, you do it in your own interrogations. Be like, listen, people are on Candiace to you and Rob. Tell me right now that Rob's not a traitor.
She would have to say, I don't think he is.
Right.
Interesting. Okay.
Candiace, I need you to say the words.
So this is like individual detective work.
Yes.
I understand.
Candiace, I need you to say the words that Rob is a traitor. And by her oath and by the integrity of the show, she is not allowed to say that. So that would be the only way, if you're suspect of two people being traitors, the only way you could weed it out. And if she does go, or maybe you got it wrong. Maybe you think it's Candiace and Johnny. Candiace, I need you to say that Johnny's a traitor. Okay. Yeah, Johnny's a traitor. I think Johnny's a traitor. Johnny's not a traitor then. Because you just caught her telling that someone's a faithful.
Now, this is something that can go in the playbook then.
Exactly.
Right. Man, I wish I could go back in time and like share that with Ron. I'm not even saying I'll tell Ron who it is, just like, Ron, use this in the game. Use it, buddy.
Yeah.
Man. Shout out Ron.
Shout out Ron.
Important to note here, Alan presents an opportunity for the dagger to be used at this point in the game. The only people who know that Rob has the dagger are Natalie, Steven, and Eric, I think. Because and then it was Colton, and Colton obviously got murdered. I think there's one, maybe it's Mark. There's one more other person that was in that like mini game that they had. Rob does not use the dagger, which means that he still has another round table. And he shouldn't have used it
in this one.
No, you wouldn't need to.
Steven was the number 2 person that they're talking about. They're talking about Candiace, they're talking about Steven. If I'm Rob, I'm also not playing the dagger. I'm holding on to that.
Yeah. And that's what's kind of interesting about Traitors is like, there's really never like a suspicion of like a secret majority vote. Like in, Big Brother Survivor, like a true blindside is everyone saying they're going to vote one way and then voting another. That doesn't really happen in Traitors. And part of that is like, I guess because you have to explain your vote and it's like all revealed individually. So yeah, Rob's not worried about like this secret majority working against him. And
well, it also, if you're a faithful, you want all your cards to be out in front of you for the most part. You want people to understand where you're coming from because you need them to be convinced that you're faithful, not a traitor.
And this is where, as you mentioned earlier in the show, this is where we get that moment with Johnny telling the camera, wait a second. A traitor needs someone on the faithful side to stay close and work with. Am I that person to Candiace? So let's do the vote. We started off with 1 vote for Tara because Natalie is so hung up on this Black Banquet fallout, and when she, by the way, she's the one that had the fucking crash out.
Well, she said that Tara was the one, or Candiace said that Tara was the one who led the charge to rally around to get Natalie out last time because Candiace says, "Hey, Natalie, it wasn't supposed to be Lisa. It was supposed to be you. We walked into the round table with a consensus that it was you." And Natalie's like, "Well, who started that?" And she was like, "Tara." And she's like, "All right, fuck you, Tara. Then I'm writing your name down." Which I'm like, Natalie, you've been playing, I think, a pretty good game. You're balls to the walls. You're super strong in the challenges. You know, are out there trying to be strategic, right? Thinking several moves ahead. But I was like, what the fuck was this vote? It upset me.
I couldn't believe how far off she was compared to everyone else in the game. I was like, what? She later on does admit that this was a dumb idea. She actually admits to Tara later on that this was a dumb idea, which I'm like, good. At least show some humility there, right?
Well, she had to, because if Candiace is throwing a hanky vote at Rob and Candiace is leaving as a traitor,
bad luck.
Then wait a second. Oh shit, I threw a hanky vote at Tara. Do people think I'm a traitor?
We have 1 vote for Rob at the hands of Candiace. This is her last chance to ruin Rob's chance at getting that $150,000 and then some. Typically, as traitors are on their way out, they throw a vote at the person. Like we saw this happen with Bob and Rob last season. People just decide that, all right, if I can't get this, then neither can you.
If it's traitor on traitor warfare, it's now personal.
Do you think that this, and let's not, think about what we see after the round table, but in this moment, do you think that there's any weight behind that?
What do you mean?
Her throwing, like her throwing the vote at Rob. Do you think there's anything that she should have done instead of that? Or you think it's just like a final spite vote, I'm out of here?
I mean, I think leading up to it is how she misstepped.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was, we've talked about this before, where if someone says your name, that doesn't mean that you necessarily say their name back as retaliation,
right,
because that could be suspicious. So Rob's going around saying her name. She's like, oh, well, fuck him then. I'm going to say his name. I think that's where she misstepped. I think she needed to be on the vote Steven out train. Right. I think that would have given her a little bit more leverage. She would have been able to work that angle a little bit more, and it wouldn't have come as so much as like bitter or being upset. And I mean, if anything, this is only good for her in the wake of her own death, because she is now sprinkled. She's left a bread trail, crumbs everywhere, leading from herself to Rob ever since the Lisa vote. She left a crumb there with voting for Rob. Then she turned up the heat and like, oh, it wasn't a throwaway vote. Now, because I've started to look at Rob and now I think Rob's a traitor. So she's been floating his name throughout the whole house that entire day after Lisa's gone. She left that. And then her final crumb to the traitors was her attack on Rob at the round table where Alan cut her off. And then the final gift was the actual vote for Rob. So there is this, blood trail that is leading to Rob, and Rob needs to act very swiftly to clean it up.
Yes. And we will see how he begins that journey later on in the turret, because it is a majority vote for Candiace to be banished. That vote includes Mara, Eric, Johnny, who flips, Kristen, Dorinda, and Rob. Rob has voted 2 traitors out. That's a crazy resume. Mm-hmm. And I know that there's no jury in Traitors, but if there was a jury, that is probably the biggest thing that I would highlight if I were Rob, right? And that's something that will just go on his competition reality resume.
Sure, absolutely.
Sure. I mean, that is some traitor ass, like lowercase traitor ass behavior of the likes of someone like Boston Rob, maybe like Tony,
He
some
has
of
the
those guys.
snake tats for a reason.
Yeah.
Candiace was right. Yeah, he was a snake.
Now
But a hot snake.
the great band, Hot Snakes.
Is that a band?
Yeah, awesome band, post-punk band. I wrote down, now it's Rob versus Johnny. And Johnny doesn't know that yet, but Rob better know that. We move on to the turret, where Johnny is on his own.
Who's on his own?
Or sorry, fuck. Rob is on his own. We get a little more time with Al. Yo!
Sup?
What it is, what it do.
Sup, bro? Welcome
Big
to my
A.
turret.
How we doing? He has to recruit. And he throws out 3 potential names to recruit. Johnny, Eric, and Mark. And before we go any further, as you're watching this, who do you think is the best option for him?
Well, first, before we get into that, I think it's funny that Mara is not even on the table for him.
Why would she be?
Well, because she's on his bed for him.
Right. Correct.
Maybe.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
I don't think we can get sued over saying that.
No. But I'm saying they're, number ones.
Right.
To some degree. So he's not wanting to bring her in, which is unlike what we saw last season when Danielle was by herself. She was like, "Ooh, perfect. I can bring my number one and my rekindled best friend Brittany back into the game."
You know what's crazy about the last season is Danielle was playing that whole game because she just wanted Brittany to not be mad at her.
Yeah.
When you could have played to win the money, but it was more important to her to mend that relationship.
I guess.
With the two of them.
She got stabbed in the back. It
Well,
didn't matter.
You're right, because Rob clearly has done his homework. And he knows that bringing in your number one ally is not necessarily the best move for your game as a traitor, because your number one ally is going to take you to the end of the game where you can go, ha ha ha, suck it, Mara. We can be lovers off screen, but I just won this money because you took me here, right? And he is going for true faithfuls, which is what you should be doing when you're recruiting. And we'll call back to last season, the recruitment there. It should have been someone like Dylan, or it should have been, or Gabby, right? The true faithfuls are who you need to target, because you want to look at someone who is never going to be banished. And that's where I think Johnny's point at the beginning of the episode, saying that, oh, you don't want to pull someone that everyone loves. You want to pull someone who can easily get banished. He's thinking of that as I want to get to the end here, or I don't really, and I don't think that has to be your idea of playing. It can be, but it's going to make things harder for you. And $75,000 sounds a lot better than $0.
Yeah.
Or than $75,000 going to a faithful, right? And so I hear this list and I'm like, great, these are all great options, but who out of those 3 is the best?
What was the 3 again? Eric.
Johnny, Eric, and Mark.
I mean, Mark, we know he's smart because of his Instagram right now. If I'm in the moment, I don't really know that I know his full game, because we really haven't seen a lot on the TV. And they're also not allowed to talk at all to anyone else when the cameras aren't rolling.
Yes.
So that is a strict production rule.
Yeah, that's why they have bedtime.
Right. And that's so the traitors can kill.
Yeah.
Also. If I'm Rob, I'm actually thinking about Johnny, because he could go either way. He could be my fall guy, or he can be that ride or die and off into the sunset and split the money together, right? But he doesn't.
Right.
He goes for Eric. Who would you go for?
He goes for Eric. I think that it's hard, right? Because we saw him make the decision, and then I've thought about how beneficial it could be. I think you're right about Johnny, that Johnny, clearly he's wicked smart. He has the command of the room. And so he could continue to lead while you, Rob, remain in the shadows. And if he takes both of you to the end, sick, he's probably more likely to go before you are. In the same breath, though, what if Johnny gets in there and decides, I want to go to the end by myself? he has the ability to do that because he has the command of the room.
Mm-hmm.
And if Johnny isn't your number, if you don't really, like, you've been working together, but if you guys aren't super tight, I don't know if that's worth the gamble, because Rob's made it so far under everyone's radar and he has everyone's trust. I do think that Eric was the best decision for him, but who knows if he was thinking the way that we were thinking, right? And honestly, I'm also saying this for the sake of playing into my season-long pitch of framing Johnny as a traitor and keeping him as someone you frame instead of him actually being a traitor and getting him banished. Because I think at this point, you're in the final stretch. There are 2 traitors going into this final stretch with this recruitment. If they banish one more traitor, that's when it becomes harder for Rob.
Oh, yeah.
Because then they know that there's one person left. And I feel like it's harder for them to work against 2 traitors than one. I mean, obviously, just because like there are 2 traitors, right? It's harder. It's a numbers game. But also, I think that once I am the lone traitor, everyone's like, we've banished everyone else. Who is not coming? It's Rob.
Well, at the very end, you don't know if you have all the traitors out or not. That's the benefit. You could have gotten all the traitors out a couple rounds ago, and it's all faithfuls.
And you just keep banishing
each
other.
Like,
right?
well, once the last banishment is announced.
Yeah. I think that it is easier for them to figure out that it's Rob if he's on his own versus with someone. And Eric, as I've said before, is the true faithful. Who's going to banish Eric?
Well, Eric was doing so much work in this last episode, especially on the round table, being like, oh, like, how are we going to figure this out? How are we going to do this? And like, he was kind of being the voice of it all.
Well, he's the voice of reason. He's never the accuser, though.
Mm-hmm.
Johnny is accusing people, which is why I think it's good to keep Johnny where he is, because he's making the noise.
Mm-hmm.
So you bring Eric in, and I'm going, let's fucking go. These two can make it to the end together.
However, the stipulation is join or die.
Right.
So some people online are like, oh, well, like, Eric's too good to be a traitor, so like he's gonna leave. I'm like, y'all are idiots if you think that Eric's gonna leave the game and self-sacrifice because he doesn't want to be a traitor. No, because you come into the game wanting to win the game.
Yeah.
And right now, there's gun to your head, Eric, saying either join or die. And if you still want to win the game, you need to go forward and be in the game. So you're gonna be a traitor. That's stupid.
Yeah, to go down and just like there's no we talk about the idea of honor playing the traitors or whatever. That's more of like a role. You're playing an honorable role. It's literally like playing like D&D. You're playing with honor as a faithful, because as a faithful, that's what you do. Just like, if you're playing as a knight, that's what you do, right? But if you're playing as a traitor, you're playing as a villain, then that's where those villainous traits, you have to accept those villainous traits.
He doesn't have to be happy about it.
Yeah.
He's definitely not happy about it as he's walking down there.
No, why not?
He's like, I don't want to fucking do this. I played this whole game the way that I wanted to play it as a true faithful, and now this is going to be upended in the last, 30% of the game, and I'm right there to, almost winning as a faithful. But you got to take it. And, Rob takes his hood off, and Eric's just like,
and that's how we end.
And that's how we end.
We end with the surprise, with the flipping of the hood. I don't know that they say for sure if there will be a murder. Typically, it's like if there's a recruitment, there's no murder. But I want to say, just because this is how we end every episode, now that Eric and Rob are together, who's the best target to murder? If we can murder before the next round table.
I would say probably either Mark, because we know he's a true faithful and he, isn't really on anyone's radar and he can just be random, right? We can't murder Kristen. She has a shield. Don't forget that. Can't do that. Or I would say murder Tara.
Why?
Because obviously they're keeping their relationship under wraps. So we as the viewer know how close they are. If you're in the house, you probably don't know how close they are. But let's just assume we know that they're buddies from figure skating together. Disabling Johnny is going to make him feel weak and alone. Where is he going to go now? Back to me, Rob.
I was just on the phone with Brian, and he was echoing something very similar. So he's going to be tickled that you guys are on the same page.
I think it, unfortunately, I think you cut Tara now because you don't need to have, Johnny needs to have any other connections because he needs to be your pawn moving forward. And he can't be your pawn moving forward if he already is linked up with someone. So
your answer is Tara.
I think my solid answer is Tara.
That's a good answer.
But I do think Mark is a good, okay, Eric, me and you as Rob, we're working together for the first time. Let's just do something easy.
And
Mark would be like an easy out.
I put Mark. For all of those reasons, and let me break it down even further. You're keeping Steven and Natalie. Easy.
Oh, yeah.
They're the two biggest suspects.
Yep.
Rob's keeping Dorinda and Mara. As I said earlier, Dorinda and Mara, I think...
Rob's angels.
Yeah. You take them to the end, or you let them take you to the end, because they are going to ride with you no matter what. And
because they both want to suck your dick.
And they're closest to you.
You heard Dorinda. She hasn't been on all fours.
Yeah, I was about to say, Dorinda is horned up.
Yeah.
Shout out Dorinda. Johnny is playing hard. He's the biggest threat in the game. But he could still be framed. And goddamn. If
you want so badly.
I want to be right so badly. I want everyone to tell me that I was right.
Really
badly.
That's my Patrick Star from SpongeBob impression.
If he frames Johnny and actually pulls it off, God, what if he says everything that I've been saying about the skulls?
Oh, sweetheart.
Oh, come on.
This is our third show.
Lock in.
This is our third show doing this now. We did Survivor 40.
Third season.
Yeah, season. Yeah. Survivor 49. We did Big Brother.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing this one now.
Why are you going to say something so mean?
And I'm not saying anything mean.
Okay.
I'm just saying, and I got you more recently in the last couple of years on Big Brother and on Survivor. This is the pain that I have been burdened with for my entire life watching these shows. You see it all play out. You almost, this is the point where they start looking like puppets and it starts looking like a production to you.
Right.
Wouldn't this be great? That would be so great. Oh, that's how you get burned. That's how you get burned and upset and scorched and bitter and jaded. So be careful over there,
buddy.
This is
why I know I get laughed at for making these comparisons all the time. That's literally what it's like to be a pro wrestling fan as well.
Sure.
You start watching wrestling and you get involved. You realize like the decision making and the creative storytelling and all of that going on behind the scenes. And you go into Royal Rumble thinking this is perfect. You're gonna get. We have these such nuanced moves and characters, and then it's Roman Reigns again at number 30 for the fourth year in a row. It's the same pain. That's why I really do believe that this type of television and pro wrestling are so congruent in the way that they're they're called smart marks in wrestling, but just the way that they're like hyperactive fan bases consume the product and then fantasy book the product and then are fucking depressed and upset at the end of it.
It's also why I stopped picking a favorite from the very beginning, because that's how I grew up watching the shows. Is the first episode would air and I'd be like, looking at the cast, being like, oh, I like that person, and maybe that person, but this person's definitely my favorite. And I'm gonna go into this whole season, all my eggs in one basket, and really root for one person. And that type of behavior, along with like wanting an action to be played out or like a storyline to be played out, sequence to be played out, that's how you get hurt watching these shows, because your favorite's gonna go home and it's never gonna be played out how you would envision it. But except if you're me this season, wanting Colton to be murdered instead of banished.
Big win.
I got what I wanted.
Well,
I love to see it.
And to go off of all of that pain that you're describing, right? And the way that, because that's why we're doing this show, is because if you're listening to this show, you probably watch TV the same way that we do. And if you don't, it's totally awesome. And shout out for sticking with the podcast. But this is for other people to not feel so alone in their disappointment when they inevitably get fucked by the networks and the production.
We shall see, though.
Going back to my showing my work, Johnny is the biggest threat, but he could still be framed. If anything, he doesn't suspect you, Rob, so I think he lives through tonight or tomorrow, whenever the next murder is. Mark or Tara, I think, is the right answer. And I wrote down Mark because I think that Tara, with her weirdness with Natalie, it's just enough chaos and weirdness to keep that alive a little longer. Because as long as Tara's in the house, Natalie's going to be squirrely.
Mm-hmm.
And if Natalie's acting squirrely, then you can put the heat on Natalie. I think killing Tara would take it off of Natalie immediately because that'd be way too obvious. Why would Natalie do that if she's a traitor? Everyone knows that they have this weird tiff going on right now, right? So that's why I put Mark. And it is a bummer because everything that we've learned about Mark from his social media, it sounds like he could be
cool guy.
Really interesting to watch as a faithful. We're just not getting that for some reason. So we'll see what happens, but I would assume next episode, Eric's got a big cloak on. Until then, check us out on Instagram at Backdoors and Blindsides. We got full video episodes on YouTube. YouTube's kind of hot right now, and we will see you next time. Because whether you like it in the castle, like me,
or you like it in the turret, like me,
however you like your game played, true faithfuls and master traitors are always taken care of here on Backdoors and Blindsides. Shout out.